2 minutes. Please take your seats. Again, the school board meeting will begin in 2 minutes. The school board meeting will begin in 1 minute. Please take your seats. Again, the school board meeting will begin in 1 minute.
Good morning. The July 22nd, 2025 special school board meeting of the Marion County School Board is called to order at 11:31. The purpose of this special meeting is to receive the tentative budget for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, to approve it for advertising purposes only, and schedule a public hearing on the tentative budget. Good morning, Ms. Martinez-Young. Would you call the roll, please?
Dr. Allison Campbell, District 1.
Here.
Mrs. Lori Conrad, District 2.
Here.
Mr. Eric Cummings, District 3. Ms. Nancy Thrower, District 4.
Here.
Dr. Sarah James, District 5.
Here.
Dr. Danielle Brewer, Interim Superintendent.
Here.
Mr. Jeremy Powers, School Board Attorney.
Here.
Thank you. Will you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Martinez-Young, would you please provide the proof of publication?
The notice for the July 22nd, 2025 special board meeting ran in the Ocala Gazette on July 11th, 2025. The proof has been attached in board docs under proof of publication.
Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to recognize our interim superintendent. Good morning, Dr. Brewer.
Good morning. In accordance with Florida statutes, the board approved a budget presentation timeline on May 13, 2025. For your convenience, an additional copy of the budget presentation timeline is being provided today and is in the front pocket of your budget notebook.
Thank you, Dr. Brewer. Board, may I have a motion to receive the tentative budget, approve it for advertising purposes only, and set a public hearing for Tuesday, July 29th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. in this boardroom? May I have a motion?
Motion to receive the tentative budget and all of the subsequent requirements.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Thrower. Board, is there any discussion at this time? All right, at this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Boston Ellis to the podium. I believe she has some information to share with us. Good morning, Ms. Boston Ellis.
Good morning, Chair Conrad, board members, and Interim Superintendent Dr. Danielle Brewer. So glad that this process is finally underway It's been going on since before January, and I think we decided that this is the time of the year when the allergies come on, and both I and Kayla are experiencing that. Hopefully, it's nothing to do with this process. The tentative budget is before you with a request to approve for advertising only. And this is based on the TRIM, Truth and Millage procedures. Again, the process started in January, and we worked very diligently with different leaders. But then when the hard work began around March and April, we quickly discovered that we had proposed expenditures that exceeded our estimated revenue. And you have to remember, this was our estimated revenue. During that time, under normal circumstances, we would have a clear guide on what the budget was going to be. But this year, it was delayed. So we went forward with our estimated budget, which was based on the 24-25 year. So at that time, we discovered that our expenditures were in excess of revenue to the tune of about $64 million. With the assistance of department heads, Dr. Brewer, Mr. Whitehouse, and Mrs. Morant, and the budget team, we began the process of decreasing the general fund operating budget. Mr. Whitehouse can discuss or answer any questions you have about the strategy implemented, but the following is the outcome. Salary and benefits, approximately 265 units to the tune of $25.9 million were cut. Department budgets were cut $8.8 million. Some of our operational costs were cut $4.8 million. And then, of course, the committed fund balance was reduced by 50% to the tune of $7.5 million. Around about this time, we did get in conference recommendations of revenue. So at this time, we had about $47 million cut from the budget. And when we started looking at not only the conference revenue, but also fund balance that are being carried over, we had a better idea of what those numbers were. So they helped, that helped us tremendously, and that was to the tune of $17.4 million. So again, we actually cut about $46.9 million in expenditures. We saw an increase in revenue based on the conference report, as well as fund balance came in a little bit larger than what we had anticipated. So that totals about $64 million. And I know that was a concern, wanting to know. Are there any questions, maybe?
Go ahead, you can go, Dr.
Well, I'm going to probably ask what Dr. Campbell's going to ask, which is, the way I just understood what you said is we found ourselves with more money than we thought we were going to get. Is that an appropriate assertion?
The conference report did provide, because we ended up with about 1,800 additional FTEs, unweighted FTEs, which some of that belonged to the Family Empowerment Scholarship. But also, yes, the revenue that is projected on the conference report is higher, or was higher, than what we had in our estimate, because our estimate was based on the 24-25 year.
So what did we get back from what we had agreed to cut?
When you say get back,
What are we salvaging?
well, there was no need to go back and continue cutting at that
No,
point.
well, I know. Maybe I'm hearing the information wrong, but what I'm hearing you say is that we found ourselves in a better position to the tune of about $18 million than we thought we were going to be. And one of the
Correct.
things the board had discussed was taking those reserved funds and not touching them if we didn't need to touch them. Dr. Campbell may be able to articulate this better than I can, but
No, what I'm saying is we didn't need to continue cutting, Because at this point, we were cutting vacancies. We were not cutting individuals. So the next step would have been cutting positions that had people in it. But we did not have to do that because the revenue that was estimated was lower than what we actually saw in the conference report. So we would have, if the revenue was not higher, then we would have had to continue cutting budget.
So I'm remembering, so when we left that work session, we essentially had about 12 million left to figure out what to do with, and so essentially we came in a little bit higher and it all washed out, is what you're saying?
Kind of broke even.
We broke even based after that work session?
Yes, Kayla's nodding.
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
Can I let Dr. Campbell?
So basically, I think to answer your question, Dr. James, is the 64 million that we were short, we're now balanced. We have that 64 million, but that is inclusive of the $7.5 million cut that we did not want, that this board member specifically did not want us to do. And so we didn't find extra money to add back to that. The 64 million to balance us includes that cut.
Got it. That's the clarification I was looking for.
Thank you.
Sure.
Because, Ms. Boston Ellis, what you were referring to is we were going to have to come back to the table for more cuts, is what we originally anticipated.
The cuts would have moved from vacancies to people actually in
Okay,
positions.
thank you very much. Yes?
So just a couple of quick things. First one, on this tentative budget right now,
Yes.
what is the percentage that it puts us at for fund balance? I mean, I know the state requires you have to be at least 3. I'm hearing from other districts around the state that they're already dipping lower than that and asking the state for some kind of grace or what have you. Where are we landing percentage-wise?
The general fund operating, I believe, is a little bit over 5, which includes the $7.5 million.
Sure. I've seen so many, I'm like, I just want to
know.
ask outright, I knew you would have that number. So that is a little bit of a comfort to me, knowing that we're certainly not in the dire position that other districts are. It also, knowing that there's 1,800 more FTE than we were anticipating, also says that Marion County is in a very unique position in the state of Florida right now that we are continuing to add. That's not always going to be the case.
Correct.
And so we're going to have to get serious in the future I'm grateful, and obviously the Fed, what they're doing and with title dollars, and I'm assuming all of that has been worked in here, and the monies we know were not going to be released this year, and at least that we believe the case is. So there's still a lot kind of floating around, especially with federal dollars, that we are still kind of in the unknown land. But I'm grateful that we continue to have students come in, because that always has a dollar sign associated with it. But it also presents significant challenges as we continue to try and find seats for those students and where those students are moving to. So it's kind of that catch-22, like certainly come one, come all to Marion County. When it comes to budgeting, it helps us, but it also causes challenges. And so I thank you to your team, and I know it's been our pencils and erasers and just going back and forth, and certainly the title grants have not helped you at all with figuring what that's going to look like. But super grateful for your team that we have before us something that's balanced. And then I know we have several weeks still yet to go before we reach the finish line. But just even having something before us that's balanced today, I know took countless late nights and sleepless nights and hours well beyond what you normally would put in a traditional 40-hour work week.
I think Mrs. Conrad said this is probably the most challenging year, and it's not even halfway over. And I agree with you, and we couldn't have done it by ourselves without the help of the curriculum area. It made a big difference. They were able to interpret for us and make sure that the information was communicated clearly to principals and to anybody who was involved in the process. And our central office staff, they understand, there are some things that we need, but, they're going to postpone them or look for other funding, because this is by no means a pretty picture. But as you stated, it's balanced. I would like to add about the 1,800. They're estimating 1,200 of those belong to the Family Empowerment Scholarship, and we get a little bit under 700. So that's still a challenge to make sure that that we're getting the funding that belongs to the public sector. Right.
That's a whole separate conversation that I'm certain we will be having when we talk legislative priorities. I know there's a lot of conversation about the students that essentially are dual enrolled right now around the state, 25,000 plus that are dual enrolled, even though that's not even a real thing to have happen with the step up for students and with public school as well. But I just continue to be grateful for all the work that you guys have put in. It is balanced, and we're at a 5+% general fund operating. That is not what our friends around the state are. That's not the financial position for many, many districts around the state right now.
But, I mean, I give it back to you because the board decided to put aside $14 million 2 years ago. And it would be different.
At some point, we have to figure out what we do with the policy on that, because we are breaking board policy in order to balance it right now. So that will be greater conversations for Attorney Powers when the time comes. If we pass this budget as it is, we probably will need to, with that continuing, I know we're not passing, we got several weeks, but we probably will need to look, Attorney Powers, to rulemaking and the timeline on that with the exact same time frame, so that that evening when we potentially accept a budget that also has the policy change. Because I am not in favor of breaking board policy ever, especially for the board to be the one breaking board policy. Anyway, I understand it's what it took to get us balanced. It's not still a good position to be in, because without that money set aside, we would not be in the situation we're in right now. So, thank you.
I agree. I would just like to add a couple more things just about the budget specifically. It's $1.3 billion, and it includes fund balance carryover about $420 million. And between the 24-25 and the 25-26 budget, there is a $50 million decrease. And that predominantly is due to ESSER funds going away. We don't have that budget amount anymore. And then also we're beginning to build the schools and paying bills associated, whereas last year we weren't very far on those projects. The required local effort did decrease, very small, 0.003, but our property values have expanded another 10%. Last year it was 11% increase. This year, it's 10.9%. So we've got to keep our eyes on that as well. And that's all that I have, unless there are additional questions.
Board, anything? Yep, Ms. Thrower.
This is a very unusual budget year, to say the least. I am so grateful, as Board Member Campbell just shared as well, that through conservative fiscal management, we're meeting this challenge and are in a much better position than many other districts around Florida. My heart goes out to them, because in the end, we're all trying to do the same thing, educate kids the best way we can and get them ready for the future. But it is such a tribute to the foresight of this board, such a tribute to your continuing and your team's ability to manage through the best of times and also through the worst of times. This is a very unique year with everything going on at the federal level, everything going on at the state level. We understood that the soup was going to be really thin. But what we didn't know was that it was going to come down to the wire like this. And even with all of those challenges, you're putting forward a budget to us that covers the bases, that minimizes the upheaval, but makes it very clear to all of us and all of our employees that, you know, this is a different year. And we've done in the past everything that we could when the money was better. I think we shared as much as we could. But I almost feel like I want to share a preview for everyone that's paying attention. This is a lean year. And that $7 million, I look forward to replenishing it. Thank God we didn't need to use all of it. But the fact that it was put aside for times such as these, again, is a tribute to this board and the willingness to see the field as it is. The playing field is what it is, and we're playing and we're in the game. So I'm grateful for that. It comes up every year because as property values increase, the community believes then that we have so much more money now. Can you just quickly give a refresher on what that means to the school board and maybe not other entities?
Yes. Basically, when the taxable value goes up, the legislators set the required local effort. So they're saying if you want to get the state money, you've got to levy this amount. And while it was 0.003, which is a very, a small decrease based on the fact that our property values increased about 10%, we will see additional money in local. I always say it's either the local or the state's going to pay. And so our taxpayers, we will see an increase based on the fact that our property values increase. The items such as capital, 1.5 mil, they are going to increase. The dollars that are available to them, the dollars that we use for construction and renovation. Also, referendum will increase, and I believe it's about $5 million that it's going to increase. And that's always good so that we can continue to do the things that we need to do for safety, and we've got to offset some of the costs, the increased costs from the resource officers in safe schools. So you will see an increase in our property taxes just based on the fact that our property values have increased. But again, remember, if we have the Save Our Homes, it's the lower of the CPI or 3%. And the cost of living is actually lower than the 3% this year. So, it won't be as bad as it could have been. But it will reflect an increase in property taxes for us as taxpayers.
Thank you for sharing that. We might as well just keep putting the cards on the table and be honest about our challenges and how our money's coming in and obviously what we're doing with it. I heard you mention a couple times FTE, which, full-time equivalent. Those are otherwise known as students, correct?
Pretty much students based on the services that they require. So
right.
We can say students. And they're projecting that we'll have an increase of 1,800, 1,200 belongs to the Family Empowerment Scholarships. The other, I think it's high 600s, almost 700, it is Marion County Public Schools. So that is the projection. More students causes more revenue.
Sure, and that's projected on the kids being basic, right?
Yes.
To use that term, but just regular kids. Yeah, general ed coming to us.
Yeah. Our
And we
average
know
is about 8,900 when you include family empowerment. When you reduce it, take out the family empowerment scholarships, we're a little bit under 8,000 per student, 7,000. So that's really our revenue per student for state and local revenue. It's a little less than 8,000 per student, and it is an average. Some are higher, some are lower based on the program weights. You're exactly right about that.
Thanks, because that's something that is hard to understand, and also when it comes to why we need, why we need money to be able to serve each and every student. Because some kids come in as a general education student, but we figure out within the first few days of school that they're in need of more support. And that whole process can take a while. And then when they eventually do qualify for more services, well, then they get bumped up, having more money available to them for the services that they need. And I guess my point to all this is that services are also very expensive.
Yes.
Almost every single meeting, we're approving all kinds of services, physical therapy, occupational therapy, deaf and hard of hearing, sight, behavior services, you name it. And while it seems like a lot of money on paper, when you are applying it to what every individual student needs, I don't know that it truly covers what it costs. So in the magic, we have to find other ways, to cover those bases. So there's just so much to it, and these are topics that keep, coming up year after year. And I just hope that as we continue to go through this process and this year, that we can continue to help the community understand what's a pretty complicated process and where the money's really going. And it's not coming from lottery, and it's not coming from PICO, and we wish it was, but it's coming through incredible generosity and awareness of the majority of the voters that voted for our funding referendum. That has continued to be such a lifesaver, and we're getting close to time where we're going to need to talk about, whether or not we're going to be asking for that again and making sure we hit all our deadlines and make the case all over again to the community of why it's so needed. So I think that the job that you and your team do every year to help reassure the community that the fiscal management is sound, but the need is great. And development really doesn't pay for itself. We have too many kids, we needed more schools, but that's expensive. Mm-hmm. So onward and forward, as they say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thrower. Anything else? Did you have anything else? Okay.
And we are available for any questions if you want to come by the office or call or email, and we'll do our best to get the answers to you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Boston-Ellis. I do want to do a little plug. Even though it is a lean year, your insurance is going to stay the same, right?
It's,
Insurance stays the same. So
yeah, the board will continue to
for
cover.
our employees, and that's a blessing. We include that in, even though it's a lean year. We all continue to try to do what we can for our staff. I also want to do just a real quick plug for our nonprofits that serve our schools, because on lean years and difficult times, they fill many of the gaps for us. So I just want to say thank you to the work really that is done within the community to help to support our students. But thank you to you and your team for bringing this forward. I know it's been a treacherous process, and we thank you.
We have an expanded team now.
Okay. The proposed budget will be posted on the Marion County School District website on Tuesday morning, July 23rd, 2025. Please be sure to bring this notebook with you to each work session and budget-related public hearing. There being no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn?
We didn't actually vote. I think we had a motion. Did we vote on it, though?
Oh, you're correct. Thank you,
We've been
Dr. Campbell.
discussing.
We had a motion.
I usually highlight this in bright yellow. So thank you so much. Board, I need to backtrack a little bit after discussion. If you will, all those in favor of accepting the tentative budget, advertising, and a public hearing on July 29th at 5:30. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, Board, for chiming in there.
To clarify, it's Wednesday, the 23rd, not Tuesday, the 23rd.
Okay. Thank you. That is my mistake. Okay, so Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. Any other further business? Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All together now.
Thank you. All those
you at
in
5:30.
favor? 4-0. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned at 11:58.
Thank you.